Sudan teetering on the edge of an all-out civil war, the United Nations Security Council is scrambling to bring calm to the young nation. They met for the third time in 2 weeks on Thursday to address the stalled progress to deploy more peacekeepers. Ethnic clashes there have killed at least 1,000 people. CCTV's Nick Harper has the latest from UN headquarters in New York.
Reinforcements are arriving, but not as fast as was hoped. Around 100 United Nations police have touched down in South Sudan, but many of the 5,500 peacekeepers and 400 police are still en route. At the start of the process, the UN head of peacekeeping, Hervé Ladsus, said he hoped they would be there by the end of next week. When pressed on Thursday, he admitted it may take a little longer.
I would say between 4 and 8 weeks, but our goal is to go as quickly as possible, and we are grateful to those countries who are helping us to do the transportation, because that's no small feat.
Desperate and displaced, hundreds of thousands are packed into camps around the country. In the more remote areas, shelter is basic, food and water scarce. What resources there are being stretched, especially at the UN compound in Bor, where one of the largest groups is sheltering.
The situation at the UN mission base in Bor in Jonglei state, where over 9,000 civilians are being protected, remains strained. Yesterday, the UN mission in South Sudan was finally able to undertake 3 flights to the city, where it delivered food supplies and medically evacuated 54 civilians back to Juba.
Many South Sudanese are also crossing borders to get away from the violence.
We're noticing that as the fighting continues, the fear continues, people are opting to leave in other directions. 5,000 at least registered now in Ethiopia. 300 South Sudanese are arriving every single day in the Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya.
Time is running out for the UN to get its full peacekeeping force on the ground. After almost 4 weeks of fighting, around 250,000 people need help. And the UN head of peacekeeping warns that the previous estimate of 1,000 dead will, quote, be very substantially higher. Nick Harper, CCTV, at the United Nations in New York.